So it's the official theme song for the Vancouver Olympic Games.
That's correct.
How did you manage to get to make it the official theme song?
Well, it was a story that involved Gordon Campbell driving his SUV into my house late at night. My house that I own as a musician in Vancouver. So he smashed into it and stumbled out, and then just shouted until I came out, and then I agreed to come on. And then he told me he loved my work and that he wanted me to write the official theme song for the games. And so we just woodshedded it, we just kind of worked on it until we got it where we wanted it.
You must have been quite honored to have that just thrust upon you like that.
Well, I was tired at the time. I had been sleeping, so it was difficult for me to. But, it's done. What's done is done.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Now, I love how upbeat it is.
It is. Well, it was inspired by a YouTube video I saw of the opening ceremonies of the Calgary Winter Olympic Games, where that theme song was kind of an 80s David Foster piece. It was like very upbeat, but in like a Donnie and Marie kind of way, and it was pretty. Everyone should watch that. Maybe we could put a link to that video. It might be the funniest but most disturbing thing ever committed to film. And then I wanted our theme song to be more military sounding, because that's the international language,
What kind of reaction do you find from people who haven't heard the song once they sort of realize what lyrics are being put out there? And you paint quite drastic images of children's corpses coming up from the snow.
Well, we don't know where the babies are, do we? So they could really be anywhere.
It's true.
The government's supposed to find these things out, what happened to them, but since we don't know, we can only use our imaginations as to where they might pop up. So I was just being going into the world of imagination. But some people, one woman in Southend-on-Sea in England came up and said that she was offended by my song "As a Mother." So I liked that.
Really?
That was good. As a mother, because it was an English accent, so it was good.
Do you find it difficult, because I think the Olympics is one of those things that people feel shouldn't be political. It's just that falls into that category of something that shouldn't be politicized. Do you find that that reaction difficult from people?
I think it's hilarious because it's so politicized in favor of the market-driven right-wing values. It's like all about, if you go and see the torch, you'll see a huge presentation about how the Royal Bank of Canada is building a better Canada. What could be more political than supporting the banks? Like, that's a right-wing opinion that most people don't share. Most people don't actually love the banks. Only really right-wing crazy people do. And so it's to say, oh, there shouldn't be politics. It's like, once you've got Coca-Cola, what could be more political than the giant American water robber? Like, it's crazy. People have these weird blinders, especially in Canada. They say politics doesn't belong in this, or politics doesn't belong in that, and what they mean is left-wing politics. What they're talking about is the base situation should always be right-wing, and if anything deviates from that, you're getting political, and I don't like that. Mm-hmm. But as long as there's like big posters for the banks and stuff, that's not political at all. That's like neutral. It's crazy. It's amazing what people will buy, It's fun.
Yeah, I think that highlights it perfectly. Once you attack the corporate entity that is supporting, and the Olympics themselves have become quite a corporate presence.
Yeah, I mean, they become corporate. Before that, they would be like the big ad for whatever strongman was running whatever country they were happening in, from the Nazis onward. Politics don't belong in the Olympics. It's like, it was fine for Hitler to use it as a big showcase, but when the black men put their fists up in Mexico City, that was an inappropriate political gesture because it was lefty, you know, and it messed with the order. So, and people have these blinders about culture in general, you know. It's like people don't realize how political shows like American Idol and stuff like that are. They're right-wing organs that are like pitching the idea that the world is divided into a lot of losers and a small bunch of winners. And if you're one of the losers, screw you. Let's all laugh at you. Like, what could be more right-wing than that, you know? Well, that's just TV. That's not political. People are just weird with those right-wing mainstream culture blinders. Don't bring politics into it. We're busy shit-kicking the poor. You know, what the
Yeah, I think there's also an accusation that it's just political groups taking advantage of a big-scale event to bring attention to their issue as well.
Right, not like the Royal Bank is doing that.
No.
It's like they get their shot. All we want is our tiny little murmur, you know, as an undertone to the giant blaring hooray for the bank's Olympics, you know. It's like, oh, don't bring the politics into that.
No,
Building a better Canada. The bank, one giant executive bonus at a time. Wow.
You wrote this in 2008, which is 2 or 3 years ago now. So
yep.
How do you find there's more negative reaction to the Olympics? Because I think there was quite a lot of excitement. And now that there are tons of spending changes and the disruption even just to the Vancouver downtown core, have you seen people maybe change their minds about the Olympics?
Yeah, it's a sad charade because it was also, you know, predictable that they were going to. And the only thing that's questionable is whether this whole thing is like an element of, you know, what the Fraser Institute and others have described as starving the beast. You know, if maybe like the whole point of the exercise is to just spend all the taxpayers' money that you can, so that you can build a situation where you can then turn to people and say, as the finance minister of BC likes to say, the cupboard is bare. You know, well, why is the cupboard bare? Well, we just had this giant real estate boosting spending frenzy and got nothing to show for it. And now grandma's going to have to wait an extra 6 months for her hip replacement. And then we're going to turn around and say, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Medicare doesn't work. You know, like, well, we had the money for that. Remember? Before? Wow, but it's just systemic problem with Medicare. We're going to have to privatize the hell out of it now. It's like, it's a big, sad charade that you could watch happen again and again and again. So you just have to laugh about it.
Do you think people are making that connection? Because I think some people still like to deny that because we spent this money here. Or
that's different money.
Yeah, we need
that's
to have
not
this,
the same money.
It's
That's
okay.
That's like ice money.
Yeah. It's okay to have this gigantic party. Don't worry about it. It'll bring in benefits later and leave a great legacy. For
no economic benefits that any study has ever shown, but the pride in Canada that we will engender is going to be just immeasurable. Yeah. And also we're going to put Vancouver on the map, and so many people more will be coming the way they do now to Lillehammer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's just like, well, people are starting to figure it out, but like a lot of stuff, it's kind of too late, isn't it? You know, it's like a little late to figure it out. And people will figure it out, and then they'll wait about a generation, and they'll do the trick right over again. It's great.
Well, I want to thank you for playing that song for us today, and
it was my pleasure.
Taking the time to be here. I hope you have a great show tonight.
Thanks. I think it's going to be really fun.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thanks.